Jack held high as the British team captain goes on that lap of honour.
This is right. Good turn. And a second goal for England. Ian Wright has scored for his country.
A Britain without these faces would today be hard to imagine.
Good evening. A father explained in harrowing detail today.
Most of the British public love Trevor McDonald. Trevor, you know, isn't thought of as a black newsreader anymore. Trevor's just the newsreader. And I think that says something about the way we've moved on in this country.
The Britain of 50 years ago was a very different place. In 1948, the nation was still counting the cost of victory in World War II. It was a country about to lose an empire, and it was a country that was almost exclusively white. But Britain was about to face the biggest wave of non-white immigration in its history, a wave that would bring 500,000 people from the West Indies.
We live in islands where there is lovely sunshine and sea and sand and all the rest of it, none of which you can eat.
This is their story, the hopes they brought, the reality they found.
You would see sign put up, rooms for rent, no niggers need apply.
You felt that you were an intruder, and truly, you were a foreigner. You did not belong.
This, too, is the story of Britain and how it was changed.
When we come over here, we brought music, we brought color, we brought dope, you know, we brought life to this goddamn country.
It is the story of those who resisted change.
I just feel, especially in everyday life, you know, as the English population thought, my God, we have a black population that is going to stay.
Immigration! No! Repatriation! Yes!
And it's the story of those who fought for change.
It's like a powder keg. You can suppress people for so long, but one day it's just bang.
By the end of the story, Britain has been transformed, not least by those early immigrants and by their children.
The nature of English identity now can accommodate black people. The black population has become a British population.
How do I feel now, whether I'm black or British? I think I'm a bit of both, really. I'm black and I'm definitely British, you know. That's what I am.
Our story begins exactly 50 years ago with the historic voyage of 500 West Indians on the Empire Windrush. June 21st, 1948. Although the Windrush had come 5,000 miles to Britain, to most on board it seemed like a homecoming. Back in the colonial Caribbean they had left, everyone was steeped in a way of life that was entirely British.
Britain was everything. In my school, which was a Church of England school, I'm not talking about college, I'm talking about school, we sang things like the Eton Boat Song. I know it's strange, but everything that they did in England, we more or less did in our school. It was a kind of anglicized Jamaican upbringing.
We were brought up that we are British, And we were brought up that England is your mother country, and we were brought up to respect the royal family. So no way any of us would ever dare to go and speak anything against the royal family.
The king was our king. The flag was our flag. How more British could we get? And we lived it.
When World War II broke out in 1939, it seemed entirely natural that West Indians would join in the war effort. This squadron, Jamaica Squadron, was named after the island that paid for the planes. But it was with manpower rather than money that the Caribbean made its biggest contribution.
I was still in college at the time, and I remember these white men came from England, and they took these, what we call trucks, open trucks, and they went to all the country parts, the little nooks and crannies, and they begged people to come and fight for your motherland, come and fight for England, because we need you.
When the appeal was made, I remember going to the then Labour office in Kingston, and there were literally thousands of fellows there, eager to come to Britain to do something in the war effort. And I joined the very first wave.
We were just young lads in the primary for youth who the bell rings and we answer the bell for help towards the war effort, and we volunteered. We weren't forced or pushed or coerced. Everybody was doing it as young lads in those days.
I went to England in 1940 to join the Royal Air Force. Why? Well, Jamaica was a colony then, and I suppose all loyal colonials, young men anyway, would feel you had a duty. Plus, I had a copy of Mein Kampf and was browsing through it. I came across a passage where Hitler described black people and Jews as semi-developed, anthropoidal, that sort of thing. Very derogatory terms. And as a young man, I said, to hell with you. If that's the way you think, I'm going to fight this war. I'm going to join the Air Force, and I'm going to shoot your tail off and come back home.
And now I'm going to ask Flying Officer Ulrich Cross to speak for West Indians in the services. Ulrich is a navigator in one of our own bomber squadrons.
Well, it's a job to know where to start. There are so many of us doing so many different things. In the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, in Air Sea Rescue and the Marines. In the Wrens, the ATS, the WAF, and the nursing services. Together with others from the British Commonwealth of Nations, with men and women from the rest of the United Nations, West Indians are fighting for the new world that we all want to see.
Thank you, Ulrich, and happy landing.
There were very few black people in England. One has to remember that. And I know walking through any small town or village in England, school children would stop you to ask you the time, and they just wanted to hear you speak.
People were happy that we were here. They showed their happiness. We were made welcome.
Every one of these people gathered together in this studio is a West Indian. Today, West Indians have common citizenship and common cause with us, and they have come over to help us.
In the crew with which I served, there are 10 of us whose lives depended on each other in case trouble ever came up. So, I couldn't afford to make an enemy of you or you of me while we were in the same crew. So from that point of view, we more or less existed together as a sort of family, As far as we were concerned, everything and everyone was equal in this country.
West Indians and Britons not only lived together, they also died together.